Inbound is dead. Outbound is dead. Replace all your SDRs with AI SDRs. You're probably tired of hearing all of this hype and noise across the internet. So in this video, what I really want to share are a few truths. The truths that certain channels alone just cannot work, and they're not sustainable for you to build an effective GTM approach. And what I really want to share by the end of this video is how you can combine inbound marketing and inbound with outbound, and then layering signal-based prospecting to increase the likelihood that your reps will book more meetings. We were led to believe that the inbound funnel was really simple. People become aware of our product, they then consider us as a solution, and then they make a decision. And even HubSpot is starting to change their tune with that. HubSpot, who essentially coined the term, or one of the main players that coined the term of inbound marketing and spent millions and millions educating the market about it, have even started to change their approach, which they are calling loop marketing, which is a different approach, which is not the purpose or subject mainly of this video. But I think the point to make is that the buyer's journey is very different to what we believe, and the way that we run our outbound or even our marketing initiatives does not align with the buyer's journey. This image is from Gartner. It came out in 2019, so a number of years now, and you can really see that the buyer's journey is a lot more complex and a lot more confusing for the buyer than we were led to believe. You've got people doing their online research, searching on the web, downloading white papers, visiting the website, looking at reviews, social media conversations, etc., etc. But the reality and the reason why people are saying that inbound is dead is because of the increase in people using AI to find the answers to their problems. So they have gone from problem aware to solution aware and using AI, which is increasing the amounts of people which are zero clicking. So they're just getting their answer in ChatGPT or in Claude, wherever they're researching online. And it's helping them make the decisions that they're looking to make in terms of reviewing the suppliers that they're going to go with. So if I just scroll down a little bit, we've also got places like Reddit. There are conversations happening in WhatsApp groups that you're never going to be aware of unless you're in the WhatsApp group, and also Slack communities as well. I pulled out this example today just for this video in this very popular community in the Tech Stack channel. On Wednesday, so 2 days ago, there's somebody looking at Fathom, Gong, and People. They've used Gong, but not People, mixed use cases, and primarily need to see call recording. Any comments on your experience using People versus other tools? This is where your buyers are asking questions, and it has nothing to do with your sales reps. It has nothing to do with your marketing. They're really asking for their peers' insights. A different subject was, we used to use Clearbits. Now we're using HubSpot Breeze. We're not getting the same amount of info that we used to. Are there any alternatives? Or what are people using for website traffic identification? Another person, different geography, different topic. We are looking at renewing Crunchbase, but they've changed their legal terms and conditions. Anyone come across this with other vendors? So again, people are coming to Slack, to WhatsApp groups, to Reddit, other forums, and also OpenAI and other AI platforms to get the answers to their questions. And I think that's why people are saying that inbound is dead, when I don't think that's true. Really, they should be saying that inbound is not as effective as it used to be, and we need to use different strategies. But obviously that wouldn't be a sexy title for a video or post. So they're going with a little bit of the rage bait or clickbait. So what does this mean to us in GTM when it comes to selling? So I've been talking about lead sourcing playbooks. These are signals and intent for over 6 years. I published this 5 years ago, but was talking about it a year before. But back then, the technology didn't really exist to enable you to leverage signals effectively. And if we also take a look at Chet Holmes's Ultimate Sales Machine, in his book, he talks about the market, and only 3% of your market are buying right now. 7% are open to buying, but the remaining 90% are either not thinking about it, don't think they're interested, or know that they're not interested. So if you just went for inbound, you would only be capturing the 3% who are buying right now, maybe the 7% who are open to buying. If you run purely outbound, then you're likely targeting 100% of your market if you've done your segmentation correctly, which is going to be a real mixture of people who they know that they're not interested, they don't think they're interested, they're not even thinking about it. If you leverage signals on top of that, you then start to be able to prioritize your reps' time on the accounts who are more likely to buy. Maybe you can stop the video here. That's what signal prospecting is. It helps you prioritize on who to target when the timing is more likely that they'll be open to speaking to your sales reps and finding out more about your solutions. But there's more I want to dive into, so please stay with me for the rest of this video. So if we keep that in mind, inbound would just capture those who are actively in the market. Outbound doesn't really have an approach, it's just spray and pray, and that's been the playbook for many years, and signals help you with the timing of your outreach. Now I want to talk about how you would combine that approach for inbound, outbound, and signal-based prospecting. The best GTM teams have their foundational marketing in place. They've got content which talks about the problems that their platforms can solve. They're producing webinars. They've got a social media presence. Maybe they've explored YouTube and video as well. So you really do need to have that in place. It just makes your life a lot easier. That's not to say that you can't run signal-based prospecting or outbound with no marketing. It just means that marketing will help more when the prospects that you're reaching out to then go to search for your company. You have a presence online. You have people on LinkedIn talking about the product. When they ask for in Slack channels or WhatsApp groups, there are people that reference some of the content you've created. So you need to have an inbound machine behind your company. But this video doesn't really dive into the inbound marketing itself. This is more about building out signal-based prospecting. So what you need to do to begin with, if you want to start to launch signal-based prospecting, is that you really need to define your ideal client profiles and the personas. The biggest mistake I see companies making is that they say that we sell to B2B tech companies which are 50 to 10,000 employees. They don't have segmentation by industry, by geography. They don't segment by company size in terms of the employees, because the 50-person company has very different challenges to the 10,000-person company. Even if your product can solve problems for at both ends of that scale, your messaging needs to be different because your message needs to resonate with the people that you're reaching out to. And then also what you need to understand is that for each segment of your ICP, you'll have different personas that you reach out to as well. Take, for example, user onboarding software. Your user onboarding software can work with any B2B SaaS company. Cool, that's a pretty good place to start with your ICP. But if you reached out to the indie hackers, the solo builders that launch on Product Hunt, it's typically the persona would be the founder because they're doing everything. She might be shipping the product, running the feature updates, writing the emails, listening for feedback. It's one person doing it all. Whereas if you are reaching out to a 2,000-person B2B SaaS company that has a product-led growth approach to their business, then it might be the head of product that you need to involve. There's most likely a head of growth at that stage as well. There will be product marketing managers that are involved with the message copy as well. So you really need to segment and think about, of the different people that I want to reach out to, of the different organizations that I want to reach out to, where are the lines between where they are different? The solo person company or 50-person company to the 10,000-person company. So you'd want to segment those into various different ICPs and then have the individual people that you need to reach out to within each of those ICPs. So once you've got that ICP segmented, you then need to build a playbook. Now, a playbook is just a series of step-by-steps or best practices that your team can run. So in the signal playbook, for each signal that you want to reach out about, you would need to have a campaign plan and hypothesis. So why do we think this signal is relevant to this particular persona within this segment? Then you want to have your ICP and persona messaging angles ready to go, scripts, your templates, your sequence steps, and the play best practices. So you need to spend some time working out the different segments that you have and what signals are most likely going to allude to the fact that this person is likely to be buying right now. And you need to go through an exercise of tiering these signals as well. Once you've tiered those signals, that's when you need to build out the different playbooks for each of those signals. So now that you've got that organized, you need to start thinking about, well, how do I allocate my SDR's time, my BDR team's time to each signal? So for tier 1 signals, which are higher signals, more important signals, and most likely a combination of different signals. The classic example which is used is they've recently raised a round of funding and they've got a new VP of X, whatever the department that you're selling into. Those are two signals which would allude that it would be a good time for you to reach out to that prospect if you can help that prospect do an amazing job, makes huge improvements, save a lot of money, avoid mistakes. So you're stacking those signals, which I've talked about in a previous video. And what you want your reps to do is really to start their day or start their week by focusing on these tier 1 signals. These signals might require the playbook to be more of a manual outreach. It might be more building out a compelling business case and then reaching out to the prospect with that. So more effort might need to go into your tier 1 signals. And when the signals are identified, it might be that you receive a Slack alert to tell you that this signal has happened, and these are the actions that you need to take. And ZoomInfo, whether it's their Copilot or GTM Studio, can help you do this and run these automatically. So you've got your tier 1 signals. First thing in the morning or first thing in the week, that's where your reps need to spend their time. Because what we're trying to do is match our tier 1 signals to the 3% of the market which are buying right now, or 7% who are open to buying. That's what our tier 1 signals do. Then we move down the list. We've got our tier 2 signals. Now this might be just one signal on its own, so raised a round of funding, but we haven't seen that they're currently hiring. They haven't hired a new VP of whatever department, but it's still an indicator that they may be more likely to buy than a company that hasn't raised a round of funding, as an example. It can also be things like they've engaged with some of your content. They've engaged with an influencer on LinkedIn that talks around the same topics as well. Again, a signal doesn't mean that somebody wants to buy from you right now. The only real signal for that is first party intent, such as they filled out a demo request form on your website. But even then, it doesn't mean that they've got their credit card out and they're ready to pay. They may be speaking to you and multiple competitors to compare your solutions. But with your tier 2 signals, because again, we're trying to find those who are more likely to be buying right now, we might take a more of a automated approach, which is adding them into a multi-channel sequence. The reason why I'm saying multi-channel and it's one to auto is that might include cold calling, that might include LinkedIn activity and email. It's very easy just to put a list of 10,000 prospects into an email campaign and blast out the same message to all of them, but it just doesn't work anymore. So your tier 2 signals are multi-channel sequence, and you enroll the prospects into those sequences as well. I would suggest that your late morning activity or very early afternoon would be focusing on the tier 2. So we've already started to prioritize our reps day. They start with the highest intent signals, highest intent or signals, the tier 1s, then they move on to the tier 2. But as we've seen that only 10% are buying right now or open to buying, 90% aren't, we still want to educate our market. We still want to be the provider that people think about when they do have the problem, when it changes for them in this 90% here. So for this, that might be pain and problem related campaigns that you run to the personas and the ICPs. It could be that people have interacted with you in the past, like 6 months ago, but they went cold. It could be marketing campaigns that you're running. You might be running an event in London, in New York. Dreamforce is on in San Francisco, so you might be hosting a happy hour, for example. These are the campaigns that you want to run to provide almost air cover for your GTM efforts. And talking about air cover, you may also want to be running ads to these people as well. Just because we can't find a signal doesn't mean that somebody isn't in pain and they're not looking for a solution. We are only trying to capture what we can find online. We can never be in the boardrooms or the meetings of all of our ideal clients. So if there's no signals, you want to run these fully automated campaigns, which are supported by your marketing function, whether it be a new report, whether it be event, or whether it just be falling back on the persona problems and pain points. And that activity will make up the majority of the volume of the activity of your BDR team. And you could almost say do that in the afternoon, because what you want to prioritize is that you are focusing on the high intent first, or the tier 1 signals, then tier 2, and then no signals. That way you hit your volume metrics, you're covering your back with the larger volume at the end of the day, but you've focused your energy and time on those who are more likely to buy right now. That's probably an oversimplified way of thinking about it, but I like to try and bring a complex idea and topic into a very simple way to think about it. So first of all, segment your ICP and personas. Then you want to map the signals that matter to each of those personas and ICPs. Then you want to create your playbooks that link your signals to the outreach strategies, and then organize your team's time so that they're only focusing on the highest signal, the highest likelihood that they're ready to buy right now first, and then move on to other activity in the rest of the day. Now, finding the right signal for you, it really does depend on who you're selling to, what you're selling, what problem you solve, how much it is, which geographies, what pain points. So 2 resources that will help you here. The first is a B2B sales trigger matrix or signal matrix that I created. It has over 60 different signals here across individual level, account level, and persona level. And one that I think you're really going to like is the ZoomInfo GTM plays and signals, which I think I have. That's the one I've created. This is the Airtable from ZoomInfo. What I really like about this is that there are numerous playbooks, and we have pre-sales and post-sales, because signals can also be used post-sales as well. It's not just about booking that net new meeting, but from a pre-sales point of view, you can find out more information by clicking Open Playbook. So this will give you a more detailed version of the description of the playbook and how it works. Most of them have a video as well. But what's even better about this is if you are using ZoomInfo, you can simply open this up in your ZoomInfo instance and start the play. You'll obviously need to tweak the messaging. You'll obviously need to do some setup, but it allows you to run these playbooks a lot easier with the data that you already have as well. So one of the reasons why I like ZoomInfo is that it really is this overall GTM intelligence platform that has not only the data, but it also allows me to create the messaging and also then automate a lot of the outbound campaigns. As I said, there will be times where your campaigns, let me just zoom out a little bit, your campaigns need some manual action. That's totally fine, but you wouldn't want your reps spending all their time doing manual tasks, because then they wouldn't have time to do the other activity to the more broader market as well. So to summarize this video, I would say to think that inbound is not dead, outbound is not dead, but what must die are outdated tactics, generic cold outreach, content scattered without any sort of strategy, and then treating inbound as sufficient on its own. And if you have any questions about running signal-based prospecting and how that fits in with your outbound strategy as well as your marketing, feel free to reach out to me via my website, which is yellowo.co.uk. Cheers.